I'm Kevin Power, and this is SaskScapes, the podcast featuring stories of arts, culture, and heritage in Saskatchewan. Welcome back to SaskScapes. This is the 10th episode in a series of special SaskScapes podcast presents entitled German Culture Alive, all sponsored by the Saskatchewan German Council. You can hear all the other episodes in this series by downloading SaskScapes from your favorite podcasting app. The Saskatchewan German Council is a provincial nonprofit umbrella organization to nearly 40 member groups, representing all people of German-speaking backgrounds. By engaging people of all ages to become active and involved partners in a vibrant multicultural community, the SGC is committed to the preservation and promotion of the German language, traditions, and culture for all people of Saskatchewan. You'll find the link to their website in the show notes. Everyone loves a polka. What? You don't? Okay, how about the toe-tapping sounds of an oompah band? Still no. Well, I'm here to tell you that you are simply out of step with the resurgence of this style of music. Yeah, sure, there was a time when this style of music seemed old-fashioned, but it was not all that long ago in the timeline of this planet Earth that this music trumpeted the celebratory mood of post-World War II. But history tells us that this old-timey music goes back even further than that, penetrating many cultures, Polish, Slovaks, Jewish, Scandinavian, and yes, of course, German. So listen up. The toe-tapping music rises again after a brief slumber, and you don't even have to leave Saskatchewan to hear it. In this episode, I had the wonderful chance to hang out on a snowy, cold, late spring evening storm. I was not amused with the Saskatoon Concordia Brass Band as they rehearse for their next big public appearance in May 2023. The pandemic made rehearsals and public performances impossible, but they are back and ready to go. You'll hear my conversation with several of the band's members, including one founding member who immigrated from Germany. And bonus time, I gave my old pal Taryn Cochran a call to get his take on the history of the polka-style old-timey music and why he and many others love this music so much. You can hear my full episode with Taryn in episode 62 of SaskScapes entitled 6 Degrees of Taryn. So get your lederhosen on. Willkommen to Saskatoon's Concordia Brass Band.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Christoph, and I play bass clarinet in Concordia Brass Band. And my instrument isn't an oompah band instrument, but it does provide some bass once in a while. And we're short on bass, so that's probably a good thing. Oompah bands are usually brass with some soprano clarinets and not a bass clarinet. And so
you're the bonus feature.
Oh, yeah, I'm the bonus.
The icing on the cake.
I doubt that, but
right.
I do enjoy the music. I like this kind of music. It reminds me of when we used to polka and waltz and do all those fun dances at weddings. And
yeah, polka's a really big thing in Saskatchewan. I'm not originally from here, but polka just seems to be a huge thing here.
Oh, yeah, but not anymore.
Yeah. Not anymore?
No.
Well, I have a dear friend named Taryn Cochran who's at CBC, and he adores polka.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like a polka aficionado.
Well, that's good.
So how long have you been playing your instrument in general?
Since 1989.
Okay.
I got sick and I was off school for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And my neighbor said, well, why don't you come to band with me?
Yeah.
And that was Peter England's band.
Oh, yes.
And I said, well, I don't want to start as a beginner because I can read notes and I have grade 2 theory and I have grade 4 piano. But I said, if I could borrow either a bass clarinet or a bassoon and just fool around with it with a fingering chart, I might be able to figure some things out. So that's what I did. And then I started in the next level up from beginners.
So you made the best and most out of your time off.
I did.
And now here you are. What's the most exciting thing about playing with this group? You all seem like a pretty chatty, lovely.
We all care about each other.
Yeah,
and we look after each other. And when somebody's down, we are there to help them up. And we're always like that.
What's the most enjoyable thing in most recent memory includes COVID, so that sort of messes things up. But pre-COVID, what's one of your most favorite public appearances that you guys get to do?
Oh, Folkfest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Folkfest, because we used to play 10 sets.
Yeah.
When the German club had their building, we played 10 sets.
Yeah.
And that's like having 10 concerts. It was so much fun.
Do you have any German heritage in your background? Distant past, even?
Austrian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, my grandma Lux was German and French and Hungarian and a few other things. But everybody spoke German. I came from Humboldt. I grew up in the Abbassy.
Yeah.
So that's very German.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
And most of those people came from Minnesota.
Right, exactly.
But my grandma was here before the people came from Minnesota. They had a house in Carmel that is still standing and still lived in. It's a little brick house, and it's still in use.
It's an old house?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
But it's nice. And my grandpa Lux, he started farming at Carmel, and then he moved to Dixon because the land was better.
All right.
But he came from Europe straight here, New York and then here. And my mom's parents came, her step-parents came from Minnesota.
Nice.
And she was adopted into that family.
But you were born here.
I was born here,
right.
Yeah. But my husband is fourth-generation Canadian. He was born at Esterhazy, but those people came up with the railroad from Pennsylvania.
Right.
So they came in the 1880s.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, we are a melting pot here.
We are.
Yes. Thank you for telling me a little bit about yourself. And next we have...
Okay. Hi. Neil Stubbs is my name.
You look very familiar.
Okay, well, that might...
I don't know why. You're at the U of S?
Pardon?
Are you at the U of S?
I was several years ago. My first big band experience was with the U of S concert band, one very challenging year.
Was that during the 80s?
Yes, it was. Early 80s.
That's when I was there.
82.
That's when I was there.
Oh.
So Dwayne Nelson would have been around then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet man, yeah.
And Marvin Eckroth. Marvin Eckroth.
Oh, bless his heart. Yeah.
Arrogance.
Yeah. Right, Neil, and you play...
Tenor saxophone.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Now, when I was talking to Yvonne about polka music, you were nodding away like a great polka enthusiast.
Oh, yeah. That's relevant to me because most of my musical experience especially since I moved to Saskatoon here from Calgary in 1976, I've been in a succession of dance bands. Wow. And I am again with a group that used to be known as William and the Shadows, and William Proseski passed away during the pandemic of cancer. And I got recruited to replace him as accordion player, not as leader. But I am enjoying it. And before that, I've been with, the Cotton Pickers for a short time out of Prince Albert, the Blue Crystal for 14 years, the Ukrainian wedding band, did lots of Ukrainian weddings. Wow. And my first band was in 1976 with a bunch of university students. We lasted about 3 years. And then I've also been with Prairie Gold, a classic rock band called Spent Penny, where I played keyboards as well as a little bit of sax, a little bit of mandolin, and so on. And then I played in some Irish bands. But the Concordia Brass is important to me because this is my primary big band experience. I always wanted some kind of a big band experience, and I found the U of S concert band. They required a level of sight reading that was just a little bit above me, but I really enjoy this. And I've been in several folk fests. I joined the group first in 1992, went straight to 2002, and then retired for a while, then came back about 2008, and then was about 3 years with them. And then after I retired from my job 6 years ago with Acklands Granger, I eventually felt the need to come back. I rejoined the group again in fall of 2021.
Wow. And do you have any German heritage in your background at all that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, unless you go back more generations than I even know. But I'm primarily English and Irish.
Oh, right. Yes, I can relate. So you played in so many genres of music.
Yeah.
What is it that you love about this? And what is it that you love about polka? Because it's a very specific kind of music.
I grew up being indoctrinated with polka music.
Oh, yeah?
When I was little on the farm, I always heard, it was, my older brother, Wes from Prince Albert, he was in the Cotton Pickers. So, there was strong family connections to the Cotton Pickers.
Right.
When I first heard the word Cotton Pickers, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know it was a dance band. I was at age 5 or 6. You don't.
Yeah, right.
Your awareness of the world is a little bit limited.
Right. Yeah. So pre-pandemic seems to make most sense to frame this question around. What has been the highlight for you playing with this group? What are some of the public activities that really stand out?
Well, playing in Folk Fest. First at the Concordia Club, which was a wonderful place. Yeah. And then I did that for several years. And now and then I would take the odd year off. But that's always been fun. And I think I was, to my knowledge, and I might be wrong about this, I think I was the first saxophone player ever with the group.
Oh.
I think so. I was the only saxophone player when I joined in 1992.
Oh, right.
Well, the group formed in, I think, 1982, and I was invited to join the Concordia Brass.
Yeah.
And I think I was the first sax player. I think.
Right.
But I might be wrong.
Wow.
I was the only one at that time.
And you've done the parade.
I've done the parade in Rostern.
Oh.
Since they started doing the Saskatoon Exhibition Parade, I wasn't with them during those years, and then I came back. But for a few years, I would say ballpark 3 or 4, I was in the parade for the Rostern Exhibition. We always played out at Rostern.
Well, perhaps Saskatoon will invite you this year.
I heard something about that. I don't think it's happening this year.
The parade at all? Oh, for you?
I can't remember the details. If it's no parade or no us, but I
don't
think
rain on our parade.
Yeah.
Well, it's lovely to chat with you for a bit, and I swear I remember you from campus.
Do you know Taryn Cochran from the CBC?
Yes, I was talking to you about Taryn.
I didn't hear. I thought maybe it was Taryn. Taryn interviewed me. I was in an article. He did one a few months ago. He interviewed 4 polka players. I was one of them.
Yes.
Well, what is your favorite polka and why? And I submitted a little write-up with a picture.
Oh, great. Yeah. I'll be sure to let Taryn know that we were chatting.
Well, it's funny. I just contacted him today again through Facebook Messenger because I'm hoping to get a new write-up for the Shadows band because they have had quite a write-up when William was with them, but now we've kind of morphed into a different band since they recruited me. And I also play saxophone and keyboards in the Shadows. So it's a different sounding band than it used to be. But we still do a lot of work. I'm going to be at Danceland here in 2 nights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He's a very strong advocate of Saskatchewan musicians.
Yeah, he is. So
and he knows everything.
Yeah,
absolutely everything.
Yeah, him and I are going to get together the next time he's in Saskatoon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, you can send in the next victim if you'd like. Yeah. Why don't we begin by you introducing yourself?
My name is John Kleisinger. I'm a percussionist, and I have been with Concordia Brass for 5 years now. And before I joined, I didn't really know a whole lot about them. And as it turns out, I didn't know a lot about German music. And so that's one of the reasons why I am here, because I'm learning about German music. And it's a fun band, and the people and venues that we play gigs for, we're always well received, and it's very musical, very enjoyable. My German background comes from my father. His parents came from, it was in the early 1900s, it was on the border of Romania and Serbia. They lived there, and the relatives before them, they actually the family came from Alsace-Lorraine, but they had, the French and the Germans had a tendency to war with each other, and so there were circulars put up from Eastern Europe for work ethic enrichment, and so my grandparents, it wouldn't be my grandparents, it would be, with my grandfather, it would be his parents.
Right.
Or even going farther back than that, I would think so. Yeah. So they, further back, the Kleisingers decided to move to Romania, and then my grandparents, a similar sort of thing happened, because there were circulars about Canada and free land and this sort of thing, and so they responded to the homesteader program, and they came here and settled around Raymore, north of Regina, and then eventually they sold out the farm and moved to Regina. And my grandfather was a carpenter, and so that's what he enjoyed doing the most. So he worked in Regina as a carpenter, as a master carpenter, and he owned and built the first dance hall in Regina, and he had to shut it down just after the First World War started, because after the Canadian troops started suffering casualties, the people in Regina were very anti-German, and so, as it turns out, the chief of police was one of my grandfather's friends, and the chief of police came over to his home and said, "You better shut your dance hall down, because they're going to come tonight and rip it to shreds and burn it." So that's what he did. He just shut down and did carpentry for the rest of his career. I think that's about it for my story. I can't think of anything more unless you have.
Do you think your desire to join the group was somehow to connect musically with the heritage that you already knew you had, or was it because you hadn't known a lot about German music up until then?
I really didn't know anything.
Right. So what do you find most interesting about this repertoire?
Hey, it's Kevin. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Just a quick reminder that the SaskScapes podcast is available for free on your favorite podcast app, or you can stream it from your browser. Check out the show notes for the link. On the SaskScapes homepage, you'll notice something new under the logo called SaskScapes Plus. You can't miss it. There's a big button saying support with a heart icon next to it. I'd love it if you could click on that button and help keep this podcast series going. When SaskScapes launched in May 2014, it was the first podcast in the province celebrating arts, culture, and heritage. In fact, you'd have been pretty hard-pressed to find any Saskatchewan podcasts. So I'd like to think that we paved the way. It's been because of your support that this podcast is now in its 9th year. Okay, that's it. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Well, the historical part about it, and
because it's very specific. It's very, very specific.
To some extent. I mean, we do some pop music, we do some big band music, we do some rock and roll.
But the classic oompah and polkas.
The marches. There are a few of the original German tunes that we do. Yeah. That I used to play in dance bands back in Regina and here. And so that's something that I didn't know that I experienced that here, but that's something I really enjoy because it takes me back to when I was 16 years old and starting to drum.
Alex told me that you've been drumming for a long time.
Yeah, I started in 64.
Yeah. Wow. I was only 2.
Pardon?
I was only 2 years old. Thank God.
Fella.
I'm just a young whippersnapper. Not great. Wow. And so you've been for 5 years. So gosh, 3 of those would have been pandemic years, just about.
What kind of years?
The pandemic years.
Yeah, there were two of them.
Yeah.
We gradually got back into it. I think we were shut down for a year.
Yeah. Did you get to do a folk fest?
Well, no, Alex does the folk fest because I like to go up to Ness Creek for the music festival.
So great. I've done a podcast up there. Yeah. Such a great festival there. Yeah.
So I haven't done it yet, but nevertheless, I've played for Folk Fest years ago with the Ray Dolan sound. That was like big band music. We actually didn't play in the German pavilion. It was the United States, U.S. pavilion that we played.
You guys seem to be a very supportive group. You all seem to, I mean, it's the end of a long day. Everybody really seems to want to be here. It must just be sort of waking yourselves up and do something really creative still.
Well, I think part of the whole thing is most of us play in bands that are more serious. I don't mean that we're not serious about what we're doing, but they're not as much fun because it's tension, stress.
This is more a chance to play for the fun of it.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody says that. This is a fun band.
Well, that's important.
This is a fun band.
Yeah. It's very easy sometimes to get lost in the rigidity of we must be perfect, and sometimes we lose fun of it.
A certain amount of that is good, but it's nice to be able to play music and get away from that entirely.
Right. Absolutely.
And there's some other bands, like I go to jam sessions and stuff like that, and it's even more fun because I don't. Most of the numbers that we do there, I'm more familiar with.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a long story, but getting back to the topic, well, the people they're a good bunch of people.
Yeah.
And some of the people have been sick, and everybody supported them, and there have even been incidences where somebody blew up in rehearsal, and we just let people be people.
Not something blew up. Somebody blew up.
Short
fuse that night.
Yeah. Due to basically they were sick.
Yeah.
So this is more like a family.
Yeah, I get that sense just coming in here. It's really nice. Well, thank you for telling me a little bit about you.
You're welcome.
Alex said, there's another percussionist. He's really good.
Oh.
And I said, don't undersell yourself, Alex. And he said,
he's
no.
getting better and better by the week.
That's great. There he is. The man of the hour. Everybody keeps saying, you've got to talk to Arnold.
Yeah.
Arnold, nice to finally meet you. So, why does everybody tell me that I must talk to you?
I'm the only original German-speaking band member.
You are, and
right from the beginning.
You're one of the originals. So, where are you originally from in Germany?
I'm from Nordhorn, Niedersachsen.
And which part of Germany is that? Okay, you
Close to the Dutch border, about 100 clicks away from the North Sea.
Right, I'm just going to move it a little closer to you so I don't miss a word. And when did you come to Canada?
57.
Wow. And
1957.
And where did you settle when you came here?
First I went to Edmonton.
Yes.
Got a job in Edson. Somebody wrote me a letter that traced me down, got a job in Saskatoon, worked in Nokomis for a while, got back to Saskatoon, found a job with mechanical drywall at the time, and I've been in drywall ever since.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's quite a contrast to playing in a German band.
Well, the largest job that we did was a Saskatoon Inn. That tells you anything.
Oh, yeah. So how many were you originally when you... Well, first of all, I should ask you what you play in the band.
I played the clarinet.
Right. And how many were you originally when you first joined?
It was about a dozen or so.
Oh.
Yeah.
So still
we went to a music store across the bay then.
Yeah.
And they gave you an instrument.
Yeah.
And if you got a sound out of it, that's what you play. That's how this worked. And everybody put money towards this whole thing. Everybody paid the same amount,
Yeah.
So it didn't matter whether it was a cheaper model or a more expensive one,
Whose idea was it to start a German band?
Actually, some other members in the German club.
Oh, right. Okay.
And because the expenses at the time when you do Volksfest and you hire bands are expensive. So they thought, why don't we try our own? That's how this band got into being.
How was
that was in 1982.
Right.
So I'm in 41st year.
Wow. And how has it changed over there?
By the time, we hit 2000, people had retired, got out of it, died.
Yeah.
So there isn't anybody there from the old band playing here. Well, except maybe Neil.
Yeah.
He played also in the old band, and then Neil was away for quite a while, doing his own thing, and he's back in the band now.
Did you have a musical background growing up in Germany?
Too poor to have instruments.
Really?
I'm born in 37.
Yes.
So 2 years old when the war broke out.
Right.
So, there wasn't much money around, I'll tell you.
Right. So. Yeah. So when are your earliest memories of getting some musical influence in your life?
I understand my dad, who died during the war in 1943. So apparently he was good in singing. That's from what I understand from my mother then. And, I think I played the mouth organ. I picked it up, so not just about it. So, and when I was 45 years old, that's when I got into the band. I'm going to be 86 come next May.
Yeah.
So
must have been a very frightening time to be growing up during that time in Germany.
During the war years?
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you don't realize the seriousness of war. You see an airplane, and the damn thing might drop bombs on you. You don't know that. You're a kid, So, no, I got no. Except naturally, my dad died, didn't come back.
Sure.
So, my mother remarried, and this man was at the Russian front. Got his arm ripped off by a grenade, so he was one-armed. So, So, yeah, both my parents are gone now, and I lost one sister. Actually, she was not even 60.
Yeah.
So, and I lost my wife about 16 months ago.
Oh, 16.
16 months ago.
Oh,
We were
that's
married
not
over
long.
61 years, so cancer got her, unfortunately.
That's very hard.
But she says, Arnold, stay with the band. That's
Yeah?
your life, you know. And I've been staying with the band all this time.
Wow, that's lovely. What was your journey to Canada like? Did you...
When you're young, you know, the world is
Yeah, but did you come by boat? Did you fly?
No, I come by boat.
Yeah.
From Bremerhaven in Germany, and the ship's name was Schaubrien. I think a half a year later, on the way to Australia, it burned down.
Oh.
It sank, actually.
It sank?
Yeah, all people, as far as I heard, you can check it up, you know.
Yeah?
Swedish charter ship, you know. One man died of a heart attack, but everybody else was saved, so thank the Lord for that.
Wow, did you all have to get in lifeboats or something?
I didn't have to.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
mean, that was after I had left here.
I
So the
see.
boat had gone
right.
back,
okay.
and then I went to Australia, you know. That's what...
Good timing on your part.
Yeah. You never know how things go in life.
Yeah. How's the German community here in Saskatoon evolved and changed? I know the loss of the German Cultural Club was a big deal.
Yeah.
The Concordia Club, yeah.
That hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt very much.
Yeah.
And the new one, it got nailed by Corona.
Yeah.
So the rebuild was a nice building, and it's still there, you know, except, you know, you got no money coming in, you know.
Yeah.
You got to make payments, you know what happens.
But during this series, I don't have a German background myself, but in doing this series, it's a very passionate community of people that I've spoken with. There are people that take great pride in the German
actually
heritage.
a good city,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Have you met, do you know Waltraud Steven? Waltraud Steven.
I
The
know
puppeteer,
I
yeah.
know her, but no.
Wonderful. She's 92, I think. She was a podcast. Amazing puppeteer. She came from a puppet family, and such a wonderful person. So how often do you get a chance to speak German? Probably not that many people do.
We, after my wife died, you know,
Yeah.
we go for a coffee clutch on Wednesdays to Market Mall.
Oh, yeah?
And about a half a dozen or more people, you know, come down and we speak
In the
German.
food court?
Yeah.
Oh, you're the group.
Yeah.
I think my mom goes walking in the mall. And,
Yeah, so we're a group sitting there on one side there, you know.
Oh, when do you get together?
This is usually on Wednesdays and from 1 o'clock roughly till 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Oh, I might
Not everybody
have to.
comes. So these are old people, you know, if they're up to it, then they come.
Yeah.
If the weather is inclement, you know, then they don't come.
I might have to stop by
Oh, by all means.
and have a chat with you all. That's quite wonderful. Do you have any children?
Yes, I do have 2 children.
And
I got
have they picked up music at all?
both of my daughter and son took piano lessons, but they dropped it, you know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So my daughter is working as a nurse, an RN nurse at the Royal. She's in the ICU.
That's a tough job these days.
Yes, first she was in the oncology floor, but she wanted this 1-to-1.
Yeah.
You know, times got that you didn't have time, and she moved down below.
Yeah.
Because that's where they... My son, he works at City Hall.
Yeah.
He's in the computer stuff.
So you're a drywaller by day and a musician by night.
Yeah. We had our own business. I mean, I worked for somebody else, you know, before, you know, but they closed. And we started our own business, my wife, my father-in-law.
Oh, yeah?
And the 3 of us, you know.
Out of all this repertoire that you guys play, what's your favorite? I don't mean piece. I mean, is it oompah, is it polka, or just all of it?
Depends what mood, you know.
Yeah.
If it needs to be, it can be dance music, you know, or if you do have a few pieces, you know.
Yeah. Have you
I'm
played?
flexible, you know.
Have you played some classic folk tunes that you may have remembered when you were little?
Not really.
No.
No, not really. My world stopped musically, you know, when you come over here. Eh?
Yeah.
Whatever you had before, that's where your world stops, and that's where you're working on.
Yeah.
Didn't get into the metal stuff or anything like this. You know, I stayed with the oompah, as you want to call it, you know.
Right.
This type of music. be it whatever.
Are you a little worried that you're all of, shall we say, an advanced age? What about new young blood?
Can't get it. Who wants to play oompah part? Nowadays they want all playing the guitars and all this and
right.
that. That's the unfortunate part, and since there's no club really, like where we meet.
Yeah. We got to do some recruiting.
People moved on, moved to different parts of the country, and not everybody's interested in this type of music.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you feel about it, but...
Well, sometimes I think some of this traditional music, a lot of young musicians feel is kind of maybe nerdy, like old-fashioned. But for
every... will come back.
Yeah,
everything
will come
goes,
back. Everything old is new again, And, I've spoken with lots of people who live in the polka world and just, and love it.
Oh, polka. But the old people love polka. So.
Yeah. But I mean, new blood. I mean, we want new musicians to carry this on.
People that come over now are not the same as when we came over, because that was really the immigration years, if you go 50s there, and 60s even, that's when a lot of German people came over,
Youth is wasted on the young, they say.
Well, what do you do, eh?
Yeah.
I wish we could get more people, yes. Because we right now we need trombone players. We haven't got any trombone anymore.
Okay.
So,
well, I'll do my best to put a call
trombone, anything, be it clarinet, because I can't play forever.
Yeah.
You never know when I go over the edge,
Yeah. So. Somehow I think you'll depart us playing.
Well, do my best. I love music, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Not all kinds of music, but I love music.
Yeah.
Rap music is not my type. I can tell you this,
But it's a great way to end the day.
Oh, been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Played all over in this city.
That's lovely.
Out of town, Like last year we went Landis, even though.
Yeah.
So we went over very well, matter of fact,
That's lovely.
Well, what can I tell you?
You've told me a lot. Thank you. I'm honored to hear some of your story. You're a legend in these parts.
Well, I don't know, but I don't make too much of it, Not tooting in my own horn.
Yeah, well, no, you've got enough fans here to toot it for you.
Yes, looks that way.
Yeah. Thank you, Arnold. How are you?
Very good.
Shall I say, who are you?
Oh, Gary Brown. I'm one of the old guys, and I'm one of the 6 people that's over 80. I'm one of them.
And are you one of the original founding members?
No, I'm not.
But you've been with the band for how long?
Since 98 or 99.
All right. And you play?
Right now I play tuba. When I came in, I was playing trombone, but I switched 4 or 5 years later.
Right.
Switched to tuba.
Not the smallest instrument in the world.
Not the smallest.
Right.
Well, it's the bass line. That's the bass line.
Sure.
You don't notice the tuba in the band until it isn't there.
Right. Yeah, right. Do you have any connection with German culture at all in your roots?
Not in my family background, no. My mom was from Dorset, England, and my father was a combination of English and Manitoba Cree. He was a descendant of the fur trade.
That's interesting. How did they come together?
Well, my mom was teaching school in a remote area in Saskatchewan, and he and his family had left the Red River settlement and were in this place in Saskatchewan, and he was a single person, and my mom was a single person, and
wow.
They met.
And there it is.
My parents never got married to each other. My mom married a farmer from Watrous, and I just before I was born. So legally I'm Brown, but paternally I'm Spence. You see, so.
All right.
He was joined the military and had a British war bride. So I have 2 brothers on his side, and I have 1 brother on Hugh Brown's side, on my mom's side, the other way.
And how long has music been part of your life?
What's that?
How long has music been part of your life?
Since I was about 7 years old. I took piano lessons from when I was 7 to when I was 15. And then I more or less kept it up.
Right. Just as a hobby?
Well, just for my own enjoyment. When I got married, we had a piano in our house, and I played it, and
Yeah.
Just for my own enjoyment and for family and so on. Had a lot of fun.
And by profession, by day, you did what?
I worked for government. I was a probation officer and child protection worker. And my last job, I was hiring and training corrections worker at the provincial correctional centers.
That's quite a responsibility.
Yeah, we hired a lot of people. We did a lot of interviews. I was part of a team. I didn't do it on my own. I was part of a team, and our job was hiring and training prison guards.
Right.
And this was so much fun. So it kept you going.
Yeah, I would think so. After a day of that, which can be quite stressful.
Well, I used to play my piano when I got home. I'd do that, and when I discovered adult band the year I turned 50, which was 1988. I discovered adult band then.
Right. Well, yeah. There's one thing to play on your own, but to play with this group, it's a different experience.
One of the guys I worked with encouraged me to join beginner band.
Yeah.
And I went there and I joined beginner band and it just opened up a whole new world.
Yeah. You all seem to be very supportive.
We are. This is different from other community bands in that we are a group of friends and colleagues, and we support each other, we mentor each other. And another thing we do is we take our music out to people. We don't rent a hall and have concerts. We take our music to where people live and where they gather.
In like seniors' homes and things like that?
Right. And we do parades and we do a folk fest. And we used to play for the Barn Playhouse. We used to go out there and play them for their prelude to their plays.
Right.
So it's just fun music too. And I played the brass band here for a while, and I played in different concert bands. But this is more fun. You see, this is fun music. It's entertaining. Instead of practicing for weeks and weeks and weeks and then playing a concert for an hour and a half, we take our music. We have played some years we have played more than 20 gigs.
Wow.
So it's fun.
You're a popular group. I was talking to Arnold about this issue, and it's not unique to you guys because there's a lot of organizations whose sole really is represented by a more senior crowd. Mm-hmm. And the concern is always what happens when you all move on to the next stage of your life. Where's the new blood come from? Is that something you think about?
Yes, I do. And something we're trying to do is recruit younger people. Like there's 6 of us that are over 80. Like Arnold will be 86 in a few weeks. I'll be 85 in July, and Peter will be 84 in October, and so on. So we're aging, but the music keeps us going.
How do you get younger people involved?
That's not easy, and we have a couple of relatively new players, but they're also retirees.
Yeah,
they're 60s, they're youngsters.
Yeah,
we're trying to get young people, but we just haven't had a lot of success. Then COVID kind of
that didn't help.
A lot of bands have suffered from that, and fortunately for us, everybody came back.
Do you think it's a style of music that's just sort of become old-fashioned?
Well, it's lively music.
Yeah.
It's concert music is fun. I played concert bands, but again, you practice, and then you play a concert for an hour and a half, and you're done with that.
Yeah.
Well, we're not done with it.
Yeah.
Last year we played, we probably did about 12 concerts, I guess. We played the same program basically at all 12 concerts.
Right.
So we get to play it quite well, and we enjoy it, and the response we get from our audience is just amazing.
Well, the city's lucky to have you guys for as long as we can have you playing this music, because
Well, we're the only one left in the province. In fact, I'm the only 2-player in a German band in Saskatchewan.
Really?
Yeah. There was a mother and daughter in Humboldt, but the Humboldt band disbanded because they didn't have enough troops. They all got old. They had about a dozen people there 10 years ago, but then they all got old and died, left.
Yeah.
And
are you still playing piano?
Yes.
Right. Did you train formally, or is it just something you picked up by?
I did. Yeah? I grade 8 piano. I took that when I was young. Until I was 15, I took piano lessons when I was 15. I was organist here for 3 or 4 years.
Were you?
Yeah.
That's a very different instrument than a piano.
Well, we mostly played piano. I had a partner who played the organ, and I played the piano, and so we'd play duets, and we'd take turns, and so on. And I did play the organ a bit, but It's electric organ. They're not really all that difficult. So.
Right.
But that, we did that for, Mary and I, lady, it's one of the part of the parish here. We did this for about 4 years.
So, yeah. Music is a huge part of your life.
It is. And now that I'm retired, like I retired in 1996 from my full-time job.
Yeah.
And I had a few part-timers after that. But music is really important. And I played in as many as 3 bands a week.
Really?
Yeah. Monday night at one band, Tuesday night with the brass band, Thursday night here. I did that for quite a while.
That's what keeps you young.
It does.
Yeah. Thank you. It's so lovely to chat with you.
Oh, and it's good. It's good to be here.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think I've got enough time before I go back out and say goodbye to everyone. I'm going to give my old pal Taryn Cochran a call. Since his name has come up so often, I'm just going to go tuck myself in a corner somewhere and give him a call and see what he has to say on this whole polka thing. All right, here's hoping he's home. Hey, Taryn.
Hey, how are we doing?
It's Kevin. How are you?
Good. How you been?
Good. I'm good. Listen, I'm here recording the Concordia German brass band, and your name keeps coming up. And in keeping with that episode 62 that we did, 6 Degrees of Taryn, you're living up to the title. Proving once again that everyone in the arts sector, music sector, is 6 degrees away from you if you do the tracing of it. Eventually, we get back to Taryn Cochran.
There we are. How you been? Good to hear from you.
Yeah, good. Listen, what's up with the polka? That's not all these guys play here. But it certainly is part of their repertoire. And we were talking to some of these guys are kind of the older demographic, 80 and up. So they kind of grew up around this kind of music, but it sounds to me like it's a dying art form. And, I remember when you and I talked way back in 2015 and you said that you were a huge fan of polka. And I kind of thought you were joking at first because I didn't really think it was a thing, but you really are.
Absolutely. Yeah. It brings back a lot of happy memories for me. Well, the thing about polka, Kevin, is that, it's lasted for well over 100 years and its trajectory. I mean, at one time it seemed to have gotten a bad rap, and maybe it was because of the Cold War, maybe it was because of Weird Al Yankovic, but polka became this kind of schlocky comedic punchline, really. And so what's happened, though, is its longevity is really all you need to do is look at, down in the Midwest or even in the prairies of Saskatchewan or Manitoba or Alberta, where it still thrives in certain pockets. And there's kind of like this underground network. And to me, it's like punk rock, where it's got this vibrancy, it's got this catchiness. Polka is one of the only musical genres that appeals to everyone from 6 to 60 or 8 to 80, right? And it has such cultural importance. It has such community importance. It has such happy tones to it. I mean, emotionally, it is such a picker-upper for me personally, and I know a lot of people. I mean, the thing about polka music is at the end of World War II, it's really how they empowered or encouraged people to get back in the mood of wanting to celebrate. And they did that with music from Frankie Yankovic, and he sold, millions at that point. But here in the prairies, polka music is vibrant and very important to a lot of cultures, whether it be German or Polish or Czechoslovakian or, even down to Irish. There's Irish polkas and stuff too. So it's important to have it in our culture. And I actually did a CBC story called "Is It the Last Dance or Last Call for Polka?"
Yeah, I saw that.
So I talked to Walter Austin at Canada's Polka Can. He's under the firm belief that it just really needs a hit song, and it does. It just needs to get back into the public eye, and it has subtly. Green Day just did an anniversary reissue of an old album called Nimrod with a polka on it. Slipknot, the aggressive metal band, their latest single actually has a polka at the start of it. In all these smaller cultures, Inuit cultures, a button box accordion is really huge and important to them. And so you dig down and you find out how important it really is to so many people.
Who owns it? I mean,
what culture actually owns the polka?
Well,
originally
Poland. So the word polka, I'm going to probably get this incorrect, but to my best of my knowledge and recollection, the word polka refers to a woman, and then dancing as well too. But then it was brought over through like all these other cultures. Black minstrels started playing it actually in North America at one time. There's actually a book called Accordion Revolution that a fellow named Bruce Triggs wrote. He hosts Accordion Noir, which is a really interesting accordion-based community radio show in Vancouver. And I can't remember the station, but Accordion Noir is a fascinating book. And he also talks about the first real popularity of the accordion was with Guido Darro and his brother. They were Italian performers around the vaudeville time, and he performed on Hollywood, on movies and on radio and stuff like that. And he became a real star with the accordion. And so there's all this history. I mean, a lot of the stuff here in Saskatchewan is obviously Ukrainian. Polkas are huge in Ukrainian communities. There's a lot of Slovenian Cleveland influence, which is basically bass, drums, banjo, and accordion. You get down into the different, like the Polish and Chicago style push stuff is a lot of brass instruments.
Yeah.
The German style is definitely the oompah style.
Yeah.
And that's so the history of the polka music in the province is actually really fascinating too, because it all really started with a Norwegian accordionist who came over here with $40 in his pocket and an accordion on his back.
Really?
So, yeah, a fellow named Ola Sveen came to Saskatchewan, had one of the first hits on radio in Saskatchewan called Ollie's Waltz, and he had the first ever recorded LP record in Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Oh. I've always thought it was the music people poked fun at, but I mean, I'm not from here, so it's not a huge tradition in Nova Scotia, but I mean, Weird Al Yankovic, I thought he was sort of making a mockery of it.
Yeah, I mean, he popularized it while also making, I mean, there's a movie called, the name of the movie is going to escape me, but I think The Last Dance. But it's the Schmangy Brothers, SCTV, and John Candy.
The Schmangy Brothers. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that kind of made light of it too. But there's so many cool, interesting, and fascinating stories. And I mean, to me, the polka is important. It's important to so many different things. And I mean, I just love it personally so much. But it's Saskatchewan still has Polka Fest, which I found out apparently isn't common. Polka Fests aren't a common thing. I thought every province did that, but apparently somebody in Manitoba said I've never heard of one of those. So what it is in the summertime generally is they have a big polka party, and they have sausages and pierogies, and they have polka music and stuff like that. And I know places like Edenwald, Saskatchewan still have them, and there's actually a dedicated Facebook page for them. They're much smaller in attendance, but at one time they were so big. There's a documentary that was made in Saskatchewan in 1999 called They Live to Polka, and it documents polka dancing couples and the towns putting on polka fests and how important it was to our society in Saskatchewan. It's a fascinating documentary. At one time, people even had business cards they traded. And so this music, and one of the things I found by getting more into it and doing bizarre things like collecting Walter Osnick's 107 album discography, is that all these people I've met and all these connections, and all of a sudden hearing about bands like the Concordia Brass Band and stuff is really quite awesome to hear that there's this stuff still going on by people that it's affected their lives so much.
But you're saying that polka is still pretty cool, even with the younger demographic.
Well, I think so, and I think it's picking up steam. I mean, the Weird Al movie, yes, he makes fun, but then also he released a soundtrack, and he included the Edmontons the Emeralds, who wrote the Bird Dance. And that was an international hit. And I mean, it's bringing stuff back to the limelight. And as long as you keep making people aware of, what's cool about it. So I've done several CBC stories on polka lately. In the past few years, I've got airplay, like probably 400% more airplay for the songs in the genre.
Wow.
Since I've been here, strictly because I believe in it and I love it. And I think it matters. It matters to me. It matters to so many people. And the genre itself, it's the same talk about radio, right? Like people say, well, AM radio is going to die, but there's a necessity for it. AM radio is crucial, especially into remote communities, for getting news and alerts and important information out to people, and for spreading. You look at NBC Radio up north, for having all these shows in different languages. It's so incredibly crucial to keep those languages alive. And similar to music, I mean, polka is important to keep going and keep getting it out there and stuff. But I think I mean, it's just, I look at it from the lens of less about, I'm not a musically inclined person from an instrument perspective. I don't play instruments. But from an entertainment,
still blows me away. But
but from an entertainment perspective, it puts me in such a wonderfully happy mood. I mean, you can't listen to a polka and be bummed out. And there's a time and a place. You want to wake up on a Saturday morning and have a cup of coffee, and you want to listen to a happy tune. Well, there's a polka, right? So it's got a great place, and it's been a nice way to connect with different demographics and different people of different backgrounds and different age groups. And I mean, it's a hard sell for me to try to convince an 85-year-old grandmother of mine to listen to punk rock, but we can go to polka dances together. And I think that's really special. We have those bonding moments through that. But it's had its time in the limelight, and I think it's coming back in small doses. I start to notice things. I start to hear, you've heard in past punk bands in Canada, like there's the Mahones, had a female accordionist. There's even a band now, the Jerry Cans, right? They got an accordionist. So it's layered in. It's just once you kind of shine a light on the instrument and the art of it and the music of it, I really think it starts to be important. One quick example too, Kevin, for you is that, so one of the biggest entertainment venues here in Regina was called the Trianon Ballroom. It's a big, grand venue. And ironically, it's now the Trianon retirement home.
That's encouraging.
But when it was here, the biggest act they ever had that just completely packed a room was a group called the Six Fat Dutchmen, and they're from New Ulm, Minnesota, and that is basically the home of the oompa style in New Ulm. And so the Six Fat Dutchmen had that sound that the Concordia Brass Band would have, and they were the biggest draw. So rock and roll, came and affected, it took the youth away from it a bit and stuff like that. But I still think accordions and polka music and bands like, I just heard there's a new band called The Shadows playing now. They just changed their name in Saskatoon. And there's all this stuff happening that I think once you're aware it's going on, you're like, wow, there really is an importance to this and a need for this. And this is really quite something that's going on. Yeah, give me a call anytime, Kevin. Anytime, give me a ring. If you want to talk polka, I will talk your ear off. I appreciate it.
You're a walking encyclopedia.
Good and bad thing, I guess.
Thanks, Taryn. I'm so glad I managed to catch him in. I'm telling you, folks, if you have any questions about music, Taryn's the guy to turn to. Okay, I better get back out there and say goodbye to these folks and see if I can convince them to play me something before I leave. I just want to thank those of you who have had a chance to talk with me, sharing your story. When I got here, the first thing I noticed was how much of a family you guys are and how supportive of you are of each other. And when I've been speaking with some of you individually, you all say the same thing. You're all there for each other on the good days and on the bad days, which is just quite obvious when you walk in the room, which I presume is the reason why you're all here. And it's a great way to end a day, huh? It's fantastic. So you're going to be playing in May, I understand.
May 7th.
Yeah. So is that what you're gearing up for?
That's what we're practicing for tonight.
Right. And how the practice is going? You guys feel ready yet? Marvelous?
We're all ready.
Well, I can't tell if you're saying that sarcastically or not.
No, a little bit.
But you guys play for fun, right? Like we were talking, sometimes it's like real formal groups that get together. This is fun. Like if you screw up, nobody's going to get their hand slapped, right?
No.
Well, say that again?
I said I try to single out people, but, it's difficult, the small group.
Aren't you the fearless leader of the group?
Yes, he's one of them. There's our two leaders.
You have two leaders.
We're take on conducting roles.
Oh, right. Who are you?
I'm Betty Ann Arscott.
I know. I've heard your name mentioned a lot.
Okay, I started teaching here in 1975.
Yeah, you're famous in this city musically.
Been part of a lot of music groups, that's for sure.
Yeah, you certainly have. Right. Yeah. Wow. It's nice to finally actually meet you.
And it's fun to find a group like this to just really play for fun and enjoy the people.
Yeah. And if you screw up, nobody gets their hand slapped.
No.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm hoping that I can be there in May when you guys play. I know you're part of a bigger concert. but I'd love to see you in action. And as I was mentioning to Arnold and a few of you others, the mission is to get some younger people involved,
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's we don't want this art form to die out. But anyway, thank you for the generosity of your time. I've heard fantastic things about you guys, and you've been on my wish list of people to record for a very, very long time. So I'm going to let you play what you were here rehearsing on a little bit and get some of that music in this here recorder thing, and then I'm going to quietly slip out the back.
1, 2, 1, 2.
That's so great. That's so great. How can you be in a crappy mood after playing music like this? All right, thank you, guys. You are worth it. You are worth it. I'll leave my donation in the donation plate on the way out. Right, thank you so much. Hey, thanks for listening. Music for SaskScapes is provided by Saskatchewan-born singer-songwriter Jeffrey Straker. SaskScapes can be downloaded from iTunes, Google Play, the SaskScapes app for Android devices, and all of the other major podcasting apps. Stop by and say hi to us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter @SaskScapes. So tell me, what fuels the culture in your community? Who has a story that must be heard? Consider bringing SaskScapes to your part of the province. Email us at saskapes@gmail.com or find us on Facebook. Please share your thoughts on this episode or any of the episodes by writing a review in the iTunes Store or Google Play. Your star ratings help our audience grow. Remember, our stories are our legacy. Now, somewhere around the world for years to come, stories like those found in SaskScapes are being heard. Think about it. We're creating an oral archive so that who we are in this province is never forgotten. I'm Kevin Power. Join me again next time.